Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. James has the bloody flux.
I have the red. I have the Mask of the Red Death.
The
It's on
bloody
DVD.
flux.
And like I said before recording, he looks like he's in the witness relocation program. The
Yeah,
sunglasses, the hat, the plank white wall.
Yeah, if you
This
listen
is
to
this
us,
is my apartment.
James, Joe,
This is how I live.
I will pay you $10 if you get into the editing program
yeah,
and figure out a way to garble his voice so it sounds like somebody who's on Unsolved Mysteries.
it's not worth $10.
If I have to talk for about 10 more minutes, it's going to garble itself. Don't worry, we'll get there, Chad.
James caught the Red Death while he was at Disney trying to entertain his family. Now they've all killed him.
Actually, I don't think it was at Disney. I'm not going to put that evil on Disney.
Universal.
No.
Yeah,
I think
Disney's done plenty of other evil.
I think I
Have
think
you
I
seen
had
the Price of Mouse ears?
Yeah.
Dead silence, fuckers. Dead silence.
They put it on
Okay,
on a sign. It's not hard to see.
I was gonna say something, but James literally went, and I thought he was gonna die.
I'm good.
It's usually me who is sick around this time of the year, and hopefully I can hold out 2 more weeks for Scarefest and get that.
Honestly, it fluctuates because there's plenty of episodes of the past where I've sounded like Barry White. And one of our fans,
You've never sounded that good.
One of our friends, Mick Strawn, has commented on several occasions when I had that voice about how crappy I sounded. So
yeah, but Barry White didn't sound crappy.
No.
Oh, look, there comes that lung. You're on mute. You're on mute.
He knows he's on mute.
If you get on YouTube, folks, you can look at this guy with the bloody Mask of the Red Death flux.
I'm good.
So what's it like being in an iron lung?
You would know before I would, wouldn't you?
No, I've never been in iron lung. I just had that high flow. James, if you're going to get it right, I was only about maybe 12 hours, 24 hours away from being. Is it? I never say it right. Intubated.
I don't know.
Shoving shit down my throat.
Isn't it intubated?
Intubated.
Intubated. Yeah.
It's not incubated because that's what I want.
No, I know it's.
By the way, I want it. You know what I want is to be sedated.
James doesn't have. James doesn't have that Pontypool pie virus, does he?
No, he doesn't sound as cool as an actor.
Kill his kiss, Chad. Kill his kiss.
Kill His Kiss should be our next Bonehead movie. So we don't have a topic this week.
No. So why don't we begin talking about the exciting news about Bonehead at Scarefest? If for our listeners,
if you're interested, if not, I don't know why you're listening. Yeah, what's the exciting news, Chad?
Not only do we have a live show 7:00 on Friday at Scarefest, but
what day is that? I know it's
Friday.
It's a Friday.
Yeah, what day? What day?
I don't know, dude.
October 21st.
Yeah.
Friday at 7 p.m.
Bill Murray's birthday.
Oh man, poor Bill Murray.
I really think it actually is Bill Murray's birthday because I've always remembered. I think it is because I was like, oh my god, because I found out as a kid that it was the same day as mine. At a different month.
He is slowly edging towards being canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and T.J. Miller are going to do that team up film.
Oof. Yeah. So October 21st, Friday at 7 p.m. at Scarefest, we will be doing a live show. Please come and join us. But also, the amazing news, thank you, Adrian, is that we will have a special guest. It's one of the icons of B-movie cinema, Lloyd Kaufman. From who runs Trauma. Who is Trauma. Literally every fiber of his being is Trauma. They've made some amazing films over the year: Toxic Avenger, Sergeant Kabuki Man, Frankenhooker, Blades, Preacher Man. I could go on and on.
They produced Frankenhooker?
To my knowledge, yes.
Frank Henenlotter's Frankenhooker was produced by Trauma?
Please look that up. I thought it was.
I'm looking it up.
Adrian, but we really do. Yes, I'm excited, but we can't. I know I want to thank the Griffiths because Brandon and Nicole have always been really supportive of Bonehead. They just showed up for our live show at Comic-Con. A lot of people didn't show up for. And I appreciate them, but Adrian Elder is just the dearest person, one of the dearest. I think I'm still crying from that thing we did before. Anyway, is one of the dearest people to me, and we really appreciate her, whether she's listening to this or not. So she's a real mensch, and she really batted out of the park getting this Lloyd Kaufman. That was an amazing thing to do.
Yeah, so please come out, support the show. If you know friends who wanted to hear three guys, and I believe James will be COVID free and will be there, hopefully.
We're not supposed to say he has the bloody flux.
Yeah. So oh my god.
I'm not doing it intentionally.
I thought he was.
No, I mean his timing's never been that good, Chad.
No. So anyway, but even if you're not a fan of our show and you're a fan of Lloyd Kaufman,
if they're not a fan of our show, why are they listening right now?
I am saying have the people who listen tell their friends.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Chad, to your point about Troma has acquired Frankenhooker. It was originally done by Levens Henenlotter.
Frank Henenlotter, yeah.
Yeah, Levens Henenlotter was the production company distributed by Shapiro Glickenhaus Entertainment. But it was acquired.
Marriage.
Troma Entertainment acquires James Glickenhaus's North American catalog, including Maniac Cop, Frankenhooker, and of course Basket Case.
Man, yeah, that's a pretty, honestly, if you're a fan of B-horror, that's a pretty impressive catalog.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, yeah. So I didn't know that, and my guess is, and Troma is they acquire films more than they do. They have an impressive catalog, and they probably acquired Preacher Man and Blades, is my guess as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Sergeant Kabuki Man, Toxic Avenger, I believe The Killer Condom. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, I can't wait to talk to Lloyd. See, hopefully I don't freeze up and get nervous, which I have a tendency to do. So, but yeah, we are very excited about this new live show that we're having on 2 Fridays from now.
Yeah, basically we've never done it. We've done a live show from Comic-Con twice. We did it pre-COVID and post-COVID. Or pre-COVID was actually a little better attended, and by a little better, it was like 3 or 4 times the numbers, as I remember, Chad, than our post-COVID show. Yeah. So we've actually never done a live show from Scarefest. We taped illegally, and if Mick Strawn is listening, we taped illegally our first interview with Mick Strawn at the end of Scarefest as they were as the Lexington Convention Center was tearing everything down.
I don't mean
we have to thank Amber for standing outside, making sure
Amber
come into the room. Yeah, that's.
I don't think that was per se illegal. I just think we were unauthorized.
See,
well, regardless,
I prefer saying illegal just because it makes me feel better.
And again, that's one of the most exciting stories I have about doing this podcast and working at Scarefest is I couldn't work at Scarefest that year because I had a vacation booked, and a hurricane happened.
A hurricane was coming.
A hurricane happened the week I was supposed to go.
Over my Scarefest hat here, Chad. You see that?
Yeah, and the only time that they would allow me to change my schedule, my reservation, was during Scarefest. And
Did you say your resurrection?
I maybe have. So anyway, I was coming home from vacation. Sad that I missed Scarefest because I was coming home that Sunday, and I got the text from Joe saying, "Hey, how quickly can you get here? We have an interview booked, and it's this production designer named Mick Strawn, and I had my wife drive." And I looked on my phone at who Mick Strawn was, and I immediately said, "Holy crap, Christy, we got to get back. I've got to talk to this man." And who knew that many years later we would still be talking to Mick Strawn, and we would have a close relationship with that bearded bastard.
That son of a bitch, dumb bastard. Quoting one of his favorite movies, Young Frankenstein. You son of a bitch, dumb bastard. Yeah, it absolutely happened that way. And how many speeding tickets did you get that time on the way to Florida, Chad?
None. And I got pulled over this last week, but luckily I got very lucky and didn't get a ticket.
Well, that must be nice. When I got pulled over in Daytona, it cost me almost $400. It cost me over $400.
How did I not get?
How do you all get pulled over?
I didn't get pulled over this time.
I was driving 50 and a 35 on the A1A.
I did 85 up 75, and that was 102. That didn't make any sense.
No,
but I'm just saying, I admire you.
We don't drive like a grandmother like you do.
No, I admire you all that know how fast you're going and all.
Well, that's because you refuse to buy a new car or get the one you have fixed.
Yeah.
I tried to get the one I have fixed. They said, quote, they don't make that part anymore.
In all fairness, I didn't know I was driving that fast. I didn't look at the speedometer. I just kept getting stuck behind some old bastards who couldn't drive for shit, and I was getting irritated.
You got irritated?
No, it never happens. I know.
What?
I fucking hate you.
You didn't get stuck behind them long after doing 75 and a 20. Fucking school zone, you dickhead.
There's no schools on the A1A.
There's tons of schools on the A1A.
I didn't see him. I was driving too fast.
Well, you didn't see the little girl either.
There's a stand-up comedian that has that joke. Why is it 25?
Dude, I was watching a YouTube video on my phone.
No, you weren't. You had your Bluetooth going as well, talking about stock prices. With the kids in the back and all their damn.
And just for just because I couldn't be safe enough, I had an old school typewriter. I was sitting here with both hands typing.
With a pipe. Trying to light your pipe.
Trying to light it.
Going, I can't understand, god damn it, why this Cuisinart won't work next to me. I need a cup of coffee now.
Oh yeah, luckily I didn't get a damn ticket, so thank you for that cop for being amazing.
Yeah. As Chad says, fuck the Daytona PD.
No, this cop was actually really, really nice, and that's a rarity for me. So, I've
which one blew him? You or Christy? It was you.
Honestly, I think what helped me was my two little daughters in the background just smiling and being happy, and also being sad because Daddy got pulled over and they were going to miss their boat tour.
Well, 3-hour tour.
So
all right. No time. So back to Scarefest. I have you been thinking about the questions you're going to ask him?
Dude, no, I have not had a chance. Ever since you made an announcement, I've been nonstop, and I keep going back to it in my head, and I can't think long enough. I'm sitting down probably late tomorrow and trying to hammer out and do some research.
Well, actually, James was supposed to announce it on the website, as I recall.
Oh, did that not happen?
Medians. That James didn't do that.
No,
he got the bloody flux.
I was going to say, man, if
a pot's on your house, James,
it's already there, man. That's what this is. If you would email me, see, the problem is, Joe.
I did email you. I emailed it.
Oh, he's gonna go with the COVID fog
Sunday.
No, it's not COVID fog. It's that like when we get done recording, you can't tell, but I'm actually sitting on my bed right now, and what will happen is I will slowly lower this computer to the floor. And then I will slowly lean back.
I was going to say,
and I'm not awake anymore.
He's sitting on his bed in Folsom Prison.
Well, it's funny. So I had COVID, and everyone who I shouldn't say everyone, but most of you all get this sleeping thing. I wish I could have slept more when I had it.
That's the.
I was tired, but I wasn't sleepy, and I did a little bit of sweatiness. But I mean, I was fat, and it was July.
I'm coughing more today than I did yesterday. But the only thing that I've had is like normally I sleep 6 hours a night, and that's all I need. That's even like I don't know how people sleep more than 6 hours a day. But
if it happens,
that's not what's been happening. Like I came home, left my family and whatnot, and it's literally been, I'm going to go make something to eat, and then I'll just wake up and I'll be like, I thought I was going to eat. I don't know what happened. That's the only thing I've had that is really. I don't have the COVID fog. I don't have, but I literally.
Meanwhile, he goes, "How did this pizza slice get in my ass?"
No,
it is. Yeah, pizza slice. How did his fingers get? What?
I almost went pineapple, but I was being generous.
No,
well, it's probably easier to get
I literally
slice up there than depends on the ass, I suppose.
For those of you
it depends on the pizza slice. If it's a Chicago pizza slice, that's gonna be hard.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, Chad. Any pizza's got to have more give than a pineapple.
Well, no, yeah.
But I do want to say.
Well, I don't know. It depends on if it's one of those brick oven pizzas.
But it still ain't a fucking brick. A pineapple. Have you ever hit a man with a pineapple?
Have you ever ate a pizza that's been too long in a brick oven?
No.
Chip your teeth, it will.
I've never actually eaten that many brick oven pizzas. I did hit a guy with a pineapple, though. That fucking thing, that'll take a guy out.
That'll kill you.
That'll kill you.
I do want to say for the record, though, what you all will be glad to know is all the symptoms I get, other than that I need to sleep all the time. All these people, I lost my sense of taste or smell. No, 100% still got them.
Good for you. We didn't ask, but that's awesome.
Well, no, I just wanted you to let y'all know because I had y'all were talking about pizza, and I had Giordano's while I was in Florida, and I tasted every part of it. It was delicious.
Honestly, I texted James last week, and because Chad blew me off too, my kid's been giving him a guilt trip on the side.
I was going to say, hold on. No, who blew off who? Because you were going to come to my beach, and then you canceled.
I didn't realize you owned the beach there.
It was my beach.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I was told by the other two friends of ours that it was rough shape and there wasn't any pools or anything for him to do. So that's what I was told.
He does on the beach. He's a real son of a beach.
I never watched that show.
And I didn't either. It's the only pun I could make, though.
Yeah. And with that, let's have some single malt sherry cask finish scotch.
Smooth.
James, your coughs are timed perfectly.
Timing has never been better. You should get COVID more often.
Yeah,
I'll see what I can do.
I was gonna say, I hope the listeners are sticking in with this for no topic because I'm having a blast right now.
Yeah, why don't you lick more doorknobs, bitch? So how do you think you got it?
Honestly, there's a couple different things.
No, tell me lies.
I don't want to name names. I don't want to go into details, but there was somebody that couple people that in my workplace
making around my workplace in the toilet.
Yeah, and I wear a mask still when I go to work, unless I'm sitting by myself in my office. But I think I should have left it on when I was by myself in my office. I think that's probably.
None of that gave me Did you understand any of that shit, Chad? I didn't
understand
one word. So did you give it to everybody else in your party on vacation?
Well, see, Joe, that's the funny thing. Remember earlier, several months ago, when everybody in my family got it,
yeah,
and I didn't get it, and we kept going, how did I not get it?
Yeah.
This is why I didn't get it. This is because God's cruel trick on me is that I'd be by myself in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I thought I got it in the spring and was sick as hell and kept testing negative. And then in the middle of and everybody in my family had it. And then later, none of them have it. And I was like, man, I'm sweating a lot. And I got a little, not really brain fog, but I was like, maybe I should take the test. And son of a bitch, none of them got it then either.
No, it's and that was the entire
thing. We're just really
thing.
waiting on Chad. Chad's always the last one.
Because I really, and by the way, I don't, and
it's got to happen. It's got to happen at some point.
Well, James, remember when we talked about this, and James had the best quote, and this is when we all thought we were all going to die, and we're all sad. Well, I was sad, and James said, "Well, you're either going to get the vaccine or get the COVID." He should have said, "We're all going to get the COVID."
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. I would be
just
way
hope you
worse.
Have the vaccine, and it won't be so rough on you.
Exactly, I'd be way worse. I was talking to my doctor, which, by the way, I just want to say and credit to my doctor, who I won't name because he probably doesn't want to be linked to me. But my doctor down here, the 2.5 hours, they ran every test because he kept going, man, you just let me check that. Let me check. And it was very thorough. I have a secondary infection as well, which is actually maybe more what's causing some of this. Because he goes, oh,
no, that face has been there for 40 years.
If you double vaccine and whatnot, but he goes, no, you have a severe infection in the background too. And I was like, oh, great. I'm glad this could all pile up on me.
Chad, did you have COVID earlier this week? You also said you
had a frog in your throat. It was literally just a cold. That's all it was. We tested. My kids got it first. Haley had it actually the day before we left for vacation. So she got progressively worse, and probably while we were all together, she gave it to all of us. So because Abby got it later in the week, and then I started getting it. Christy got it during the week, and then I started developing symptoms on Sunday. And then
she didn't spit on you all the time.
No, she just goes right for the eyes too. Just spits right at the eyes.
Right at the eyes. According to James, are the windows to the soulless.
That's she learned that from watching that Jurassic Park. Yeah. And lizards wasn't spit and whatnot.
Yeah. She gets one of them two those fans, those hand fans, and puts them aside. Daddy.
The mental image on that was enough for me. That's good. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
So go ahead, Jay.
No, James, you go.
Well, I was just saying, real quick, we're doing our show live there at the Scarefest. I mean, you all will be live. I may be in a pine box. We got to see what happens. But the point
On a
being,
slow train down to Georgia. Is that the rest of it?
no, I want you to wheel me out and say, Lloyd, he wanted to talk to you, but he ain't going to talk to you.
I was going to say, have either one of you seen Werewolf by Night yet?
No, I want to watch it, but I also haven't seen the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones show.
I haven't either.
House of Dragon.
Yeah, House of Dragon. Yeah, I'm trying to watch it. Honestly, I didn't mean to get off topic with James's conversation. James, do you want to finish your topic?
What I was gonna say is, so I thought, since we were mentioning Scarefest, and there's other people obviously at Scarefest other than Lloyd, and you totally should come see our show with Lloyd Kaufman. But real quick, who are some other people?
The 21st at 7 p.m. at the Lexington Convention Center at the Scarefest.
Yes,
7 p.m. Hey, 21st at the Lexington Convention Center.
And by the way,
in beautiful scenic.
We don't really know that's there. We did that last week.
No, but what I was going to say is, you should come see our show, and then you should definitely go talk to Lance Henriksen and ask him if he still has copies of his book. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah,
not bad for story. Not bad for a human. The book is actually really good. If you like behind the scenes tell, plus it's Lance Henriksen. Yeah, and then ask him if there's going to be a Millennium movie, and let me know what he says. Because he gets asked that a lot, but I want to keep asking him because I want a Millennium movie.
I have a bourbon here. It's called 2 Stars.
Uh-huh.
Who the hell would name their bourbon 2 stars? You know what it tastes like?
Ones who don't have to
star.
About 1.5.
I was going to say somebody who doesn't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah, they don't need to put on airs. They don't need to impress anybody. They meet the legal requirement of bourbon, and that's what you get.
I just realized I spelled doodle wrong.
Yeah, it's not awful. About 2 or 3 stars. I might give it 2.5. Why did you spell doodle in the first place?
No reason.
I mean, I see it on your
By
name.
the way, I want y'all to know, this is a true story. Speaking of which, this would be something y'all might find entertaining.
True story.
The listeners may find this entertaining. So, we change our names on here occasionally.
If you watch the video version.
Yeah, if you watch the video version, we occasionally change our names on here. And occasionally I forget to change my name. And it just so happens last week, before I went on vacation with my family, I did a couple professional conferences, 2 back-to-back. One of them was it's a national organization. I presented nationally.
I am so excited to see.
Kind of doing a name drop, but not really doing.
No. It was broadcast.
It was a national organization.
No.
I presented nationally.
No. Dude, I'm driving.
I want to hear where this goes. I'm
driving home the point. It was national, and also it was broadcast.
Oh, national broadcast nationally.
No, let me drive this home, Joe, which means people saw it. Normally, I do conferences. I go in, it's a room and 12 people, and I talk about something. Yeah, and nobody sees this crap, right? Nobody sees 12 people in a room hear me talk about something historical. Nobody. That's interesting. This is great talk, Dr. Thomas. Yeah, I'll come to your session later. Whatever. Not this time. This time, it's broadcast. They're recording it. And I'm halfway through the session, and I happen to look over at my screen, and I see that I had left up one of our unique bonehead names.
Well, which one was it?
What was it?
I can't even remember, because all I did was I looked over and I was like, well, I'm not looking anymore, because there was no way I could slowly change it without people noticing. But I had another session afterwards, and I literally was sitting there, and it would not let me change it, because whoever was controlling the session had locked names. I had to leave the conference, go back in, relaunch my own Zoom, change it there, which is why it's now, I've got my pronouns on there, because I was going back into this conference, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, and I thought for a while, nobody noticed. And I'm near the end of the conference, they're doing the closing speaker stuff, and I literally all of a sudden get a message from somebody that I'm working on something with, and it's literally like, can I ask you a question? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. What the hell was your name about earlier? And I literally, I completely, I tried to play it off. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember. I was typing this all. I don't remember. I don't know what you're talking about.
My son had my Zoom account.
Yeah, it was as close as because I occasionally have these moments where I'm like, oh, I finally made it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
as Joe was making fun of me, I got to present an act. That's pretty amazing. No,
Nationalism.
why would anybody listen to me? Who the hell am I? And then I have that moment where I'm like, oh crap, I'm the guy that has a weird name at this conference. Great, that's what I am now.
I actually really like this.
Is that Folgers?
No, it's Dundalgan. Can you read that?
Dead dog. You're drinking a dead dog. Awesome.
It's single malt sherry cask whiskey. It's really good. And this little bottle, I've just taken a sip every once in a while while we've done Bonehead over the last, I think I've had this almost a year and a half. Now it's empty. I got to get a big bottle of it. So Bonehead listeners, if you want to be a really top tier listener,
send Joe a dead dog.
Send me just the Dundalgan single malt sherry cask.
I bet you could order it.
I was trying to look it up while James was telling me about his nationalism.
No, so I since neither one of you have watched Werewolf by Night, I strongly encourage. Full disclosure, I have not been a big fan of Marvel as of late. I really enjoyed this. The downside to it is there is an amazing surprise in the movie that I don't want to spoil for either one of you, especially James, and it got ruined for me.
So don't ruin it. I haven't got to watch it yet because I promised my kids I'd watch it with them because I love that character. I love Werewolf by Night. And I've heard all sorts of mixed things about it, so I'm trying to not.
I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I didn't know. I want you to watch it so I can talk to you because I didn't know any character except for one in it. But yeah, the one of the big surprises in the show, like I was completely just, even though I knew it, which like I said, pissed me off. I was very happy. But yeah, and then back to Joe's comment about Game of Thrones. I don't hate it. I don't, but God bless it. I swear it's about 100 times more depressing than the first one.
Oh, really? I don't feel that way. I actually like the familial part of it, but I like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then as it's going, I'm getting bored with it a little bit.
I am too. That's why
I love the first 2 or 3. I like that not everyone was trying to kill everyone.
Yeah, I stopped watching it because I got bored, and also too, it was just every episode was it was just heartbreaking, and I keep hearing things that it just keeps getting worse. And I'm like, oh, do I really want to put myself through that?
What was heartbreaking about it?
Just the characters and how they were treating each other. I mean, that the only good character in that whole show so far is the king.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy.
And I just hated that, and it's just devastating what's happening to him behind the scenes.
Joe, would you say that this particular king is making his way the only way he knows how?
So you guys want to hear a funny story?
Yeah,
sure.
When we do road trips, it's not really all that funny. It might be slightly amusing to both of you, especially since you know my son. So when we do road trips, it's a kind of a tradition to start out with eastbound and down. So as you pull out of, well, I won't say where I live, but yeah, specifically you're pulling out the cord and it starts playing. Even if it's 4 a.m., we start playing it. Well, he's never really paid attention till this time. I bet we had to play it 30 times on the way, maybe 20 times on the back. So he'll be walking around going, eastbound and down, rucking.
So you pretty much,
the second part of it screwed up.
You pretty much have Little Archer, right? There's that entire episode of Archer where it flashes back to when he's a kid and he screams eastbound down and runs by with the box on him.
A little bit. I mean, what I have is somebody who looks completely like the other person, and then I don't know. I seem to make this joke, but it wasn't until a while back I was like, oh yeah, that's that. Yeah, he acts like somebody else. Unfortunate for him. Unfortunate for him. That was all I had was him singing Eastbound and Down was cute. I told you it wasn't really all that interesting.
I will say this, we haven't talked about it, Joe, though, back on the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings show is growing on me greatly.
Yeah, somebody asked me about it the other day, and I never made it past the second or third episode. So I liked it in the sense of I enjoy being in that world, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a chore.
You do need to keep watching because it builds. And
I got a question about this.
The last 2 episodes have been pretty amazing. For me anyway.
Yeah.
I will say this. If by the way, sorry, James, just real quick, let me get this point out.
Fuck you, James.
I accidentally clicked on something online and it said something that might happen in the show. And if that does happen, just like Werewolf by Night, I'm going to be pissed because I keep seeing elements of where it might be true, and I hope it's not.
Well, I want to watch. Is Werewolf by Night 2 hours?
No, it's an hour.
Oh, it's only an hour. So, but it's just that. It's just that episode, right?
Yeah.
So I really want to watch it. I've read what the people who I'm friends with in the industry have all posted about how much they love it, even though it takes liberties, right?
I don't know.
I think it takes some liberties with the original character, and that's fine with me.
Oh,
I don't know anything
sure it
about
does.
it.
As a fan of Werewolf by Night, I'm going to go ahead and say it does, or it wouldn't be on Disney Plus.
Right.
Some of those stories are brutal, and so they're not going to do it on Disney Plus.
I do have one thing real quick. I would really want to watch Werewolf by Night. I watched the new Hellraiser.
I did too.
So Chad, here's my. I was going to review it for Scarefest, but I've already reviewed it for the Munsters this week, and then next week is actual Scarefest, so I'll probably review it late.
Oh man, maybe we should talk about the Munsters after this. I don't know if.
Yeah, we'll turn to talk about the Munsters. So I don't want to give too much away about Hellraiser. James, are you going to watch it?
Eventually, but I'm not.
Yeah. So, and in talking about it, won't give anything away. Chad, agreed?
Yeah.
There's not like a big no twist. There's nothing.
I will honestly say that it is pretty predictable what happens.
It is fairly predictable. So it's 2 hours long, so that's its first sin.
Yeah.
It should never be more than 92 minutes.
Nope.
Just no way.
Yep.
Second of all, the original Hellraiser films are interesting and fun, but none of them are really fantastic. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah, no. There's not much of a in terms of plot. Yeah.
There's not much plot. Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 I enjoy. Hellraiser 3 just tad too ridiculous to me, and then it just goes.
But can I say one thing though? I do appreciate if Hellraiser did nothing else as a franchise, it gave me something that about once a month I can post on Twitter about, tag Laurel Hightower in. Like this week's tag, if you don't follow me on Twitter or follow Laurel, you probably missed it, but it literally was, Laurel, do you ever stop and think about the fact that Pinhead will never know the joy of wearing one of those inflatable T-Rex Halloween costumes?
Yeah,
because the little nails would just poke it, and it'd be. And she posted back, going, "Oh my god, I just envisioned the
Joe,
it slowly deflates."
Can we point something out real quick before we get back into Hellraiser?
Sure.
Is James in the Matrix? If you look at his headpiece, it keeps disappearing into the wall.
It does a little.
Things happen, man. Things happen.
It's the microphone part. It does all the time now that you pointed it out to me.
If you're not careful, you'll see two of me. That's deja vu. It means the system knows you're here.
All right, so I was watching Hellraiser.
Yeah.
It's not overly bloody. It's not. There's not a ton of sex. It's not beautifully shot.
No.
And it's 2 hours, way too long. And I couldn't stand the first 30 minutes of most of the characters, and I wanted to quit, but I kept watching.
Yeah.
And by minute 95, I was engrossed.
Yep. When
they get to the house,
when all the shit starts happening,
when all the shit starts happening, they get to the house and it starts explaining things. And it's another one though that suffers a little bit, and we're going to talk about this one, the Munsters. I'm sure it suffers a little bit. They gave a little bit more than they did budget than some of those, as they used to call them, straight to tape. But it ain't much more. Chad, what do you think? It suffers a little bit from its budget.
Right? Yeah, I agree. I will say this: has there been any criticism about the female Pinhead?
Well, because Jamie Clayton goes as they them, so I'm not for sure. I don't understand.
Oh, she is. Okay, she's changed her pronouns. Okay, I didn't know that.
So well, I think she's they them. I was looking it up because I didn't understand if she was originally a dude or not, and it doesn't matter anyway. She's fine in it. I like that, and it doesn't really. It's not really a remake. I mean, it could completely exist because the last part of it is basically Hellraiser 2. It's a combination of Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 anyway. Certain, don't you think?
Yeah.
Especially when it gets to the Leviathan part and talks about all that. And it does a good job of explaining things and how it makes a little bit more logical sense about the box.
I will say this though.
But again, I got totally engrossed by 80 minutes into it. I was and so I enjoyed the last part of it.
and I will say this: if anybody has any complaints about Jamie Clayton as Pinhead, no offense to Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
Okay. I was afraid.
Doug Jones is a totally different dude.
Yeah. Well, no, I just want to make sure I said Brad. I want to make sure Doug Bradley, but
he's a nice guy.
He does a great job as Pinhead, but honestly, there's not a whole lot of meat to Pinhead. He just sits there and has a scowl on his face and says some lines.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you would not want to be like if you got, let's say hypothetically, you were in this fantastical diner and there were all these fictional beings that you could sit and have lunch with and have a conversation and you'd be 100% safe. You would be most disappointed if you got assigned to the table with the tall man from Phantasm and Pinhead, right? I mean, that would be the boringest table ever.
Oh, God, yeah.
Boy, your suffering will be legendary even in hell. Yeah, listen, can I get another table? There's got to be another table.
It just wasn't bad enough for me to not say don't watch.
It was.
But the first act is tough to get through.
Yeah,
because I still at the end don't care about any of the characters. It was more about the house and the way and the and the exposition of anything else in the stories. Most of the acting is still awful.
Yeah.
Well, except for
the villain. I like the villain.
Do you like the villain?
Yeah, I did.
There's a little bit of a twist there.
But y'all are talking about a lot of stuff that I haven't watched yet because my wife wants to watch House of Dragons with me because we watched Game of Thrones together. That. And I'm waiting on Munsters. I'm gonna watch it with my family.
Oh, you still haven't watched Munsters? Then we can't talk about it. Shit.
No, I haven't. I'm gonna watch it with my family. I'm waiting until I get home. But I can't come home because I know
we don't sway James' opinion on anything, but I'm just afraid that if we hark too much on it, I don't want to ruin it.
It's awful.
Oh. Well, I don't.
It's
not good.
Yeah.
Everything I've read about it said, hey, if you're a super fan of the original series and you like that same beat of comedy, good news.
So I disagree slightly.
No.
Because the writing is so bad.
Yeah. It is not the same.
That is the intent.
But it fails miserably.
It fails miserably most of the time. The two people who I think get away the best, in my opinion, are Jorge Garcia as the
sorta.
Yeah, I actually thought he was fine, and the great character actor Daniel Roebuck, who doesn't to me get enough work. Yeah, I'd like to see him in more stuff as Grandpa Munster. Now he has nothing to do. The problem is the script is so bad.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything.
He gets away better than some of the other ones.
My problem with Daniel Roebuck in that film, and again, I don't want to ruin too much for James, but again, he has this weird reversal for some reason. There's no explanation as to why he has it, but just he starts out one way, and then suddenly it just flips into this other character, and I'm like, what the hell's happening? It made no sense. The other person that I don't think you gave credit for, I didn't care for Jorge Garcia that much, to be honest with you. It was just I felt like it was very wooden. The guy who's in a lot of his films now, Jesus,
Richard Brake.
He plays multiple roles, but his very first role in the film I enjoyed.
Yeah, but the thing is once again he has nothing to work with.
Well,
I also like the art. I like the zombiness of it. And what I mean by that is the Rob Zombie look. I enjoyed a lot of those throwbacks, references, the colors, the garish colors. I enjoy all that. So it's enough for me to say it's not the biggest piece of crap I ever saw.
See, you thought it was you like that because my main problem with with that look, it looked like a very cheap music video is what it looked like. It looked like they just put some gels on them and
I liked it a lot. I really did.
I'll be honest with you. And again, I haven't seen the Munsters, but oddly enough,
I really don't want to ruin it for you, James.
Oddly enough,
it's just badly written.
So I had a couple days where I couldn't look at a screen. I was having headaches. But last night, it kind of cleared up, and I was like, I can't work because I can't focus well enough. And I was like, I need to put something on. I happened to pull up HBO Max, and it did the recommended for you. And it recommended for me, and I watched two films, both old, because I was like, I'm not going to be able to follow anything new. House on Odd Hill.
Yeah.
William Malone, guest of the show.
Malone is a great guest. I actually, when we took last week off, I said we're taking the week off. May I recommend Bill Malone's episode because
it's got the Beatles. It's got
got the Beatles and a strip club all in the same story.
But and I watched it and I enjoyed it still. I still enjoyed it. I mean, you can tear it apart if you really want to, but I was like, nope, just enjoy the ride. It's a lot of fun.
So,
and then I sat there the entire time going Hulk roller coaster, Hulk roller coaster. Anyway, but the other side of it was after it literally went, if you enjoyed House on the Hill, our next recommendation for you is House of a Thousand Corpses. And I was like, those are two very different films. But I let it autoplay. I went ahead and watched House of a Thousand Corpses because I was like, I've seen it multiple times, but I haven't seen it probably in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and I was like, I still say Devil's Rejects is probably his magnum opus.
Of course.
But I was sitting there and I was like, to watch that film now and to look at different aspects of it, I think it still maintains its hold as probably his most unnerving film for a couple different reasons. Because you sat there the entire time, like I was watching it, and if you've never seen the film, I can't tell you anything. But like the scene where she's begging to be released, and Tiny unties her, and she just starts to go upstairs, and then she gets caught. But you're sitting there going, is Tiny really a terrible human being? Did he know she would get caught? Or is he just like, well, it is what it is. Take it as it comes. You never know. And I think a lot of the characters, their motivations, like you can tell, obviously the ones that pop up in a later film are terrible people.
Yeah.
On multiple levels. But there's some other characters where you're like, how do they function? Like I think Grandpa is an example of that, in that like he's a terrible person, but he never really does anything. Is he just an enabler? Is he just there? Anyway, I enjoyed rewatching it and thinking about, oh, well, how does this connect to? Yeah. Well, Captain Spaulding, though, when I was rewatching, I'm like, he does. I mean, he actually is the first person to get a kill in the movie.
Yep.
Well, he is, but they're bad guys.
Clown shoes.
Yeah. But they're robbing him.
Yeah, they're robbing him. They're bad people.
Yeah. Which is what makes that ending so cool is, does he know the back seat's occupied or does he not? And of course, we know from later films he knew certain things. But no, you're right. As a movie, and I think that's what made it really interesting to rewatch it. Is I was just thinking about, there's a lot you could examine, just the different ways, and then of course you get Robert Muke's character who doesn't pop up too much after that.
It's kind of funny you mentioned HBO Max recommendations, because I want to talk about my HBO Max recommendations. So on my
if you watch My Little Pony the movie, the original, it will eventually recommend that new one.
No, so I watched Game of Thrones. I've really been as I've talked about before with you guys, and Joe's mentioned on the show, HBO Max, the reason I love it is you can really go into a deep dive of all kinds of different types of movies, which I don't think really holds true for Netflix sometimes, or Hulu. But so I was watching Game of Thrones. I started watching the Thin Man series, which I love more than any. I really, really, truly love.
You never seen them before?
No.
James and I talked about them, but you finally started watching them.
Well, I seen the Thin Man a while back. I didn't remember it, so I watched it, and then I'm getting into the sequels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love the sequels.
They're so funny. I actually haven't watched a lot. I don't think I've watched all the sequels.
They're all on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So,
are there 6 sequels?
I think there's 5.
5. Oh, there's 6 total. Okay.
That's one of those examples of chemistry on screen that just is hard to replicate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because those two can do anything together, right?
Yeah. And William Powell, his performances are just amazing. But no, so I've been watching movies like this. My daughter wanted to watch Jurassic Park, so we watched Jurassic Park on there. You want to guess what my recommendation was? With keep in mind with all these, Let's Be Cops. And I'm like, how HBO Max are you telling me to watch Let's Be Cops? I'm like, I've been watching some pretty amazing shit on here, and you tell me to watch one of the most lowbrow comedies of the last 10 years?
They probably need a couple more people to see it so they can hit their minimums.
I guess. But yeah,
like it's kind of like hotels.com, who could sponsor our show.
Yeah.
Anyway, but hotels.com, if you search for them, which I do use hotels.com sometimes, and if you search for them, they'll tell you up front. It's right under the search bar. We rank your searches based on who gives us what percentage we get. And I'm like, I can admire that. Be upfront about. I mean, you can then sort it differently if you want, but their initial way they're going to show it to you is we rank this based on what we get out of it.
Well, guys.
Well, my phone started. Sorry. So,
No,
well,
it's
is there
okay.
anything else you want to talk about? Any other thing? I can't think of anything else.
Again,
James, one last thing.
I've brought this up to you all, but y'all were talking about things that you watched, and I haven't got to those things yet. I'm gonna say it again. I don't think any of you have watched it yet.
Mr. Harrigan's phone, by the way, is turning out to be really amazing. I haven't finished it yet.
See, I read a review of it that said it was like watching paint dry, so I'll be interested to know your comparison.
I'm not having a problem with it yet. So,
but I'm going to bring this up, and hopefully, eventually, y'all will watch it. But at least these people that listen to our show, all two of you, this is for the fan to decide. I told these guys about this movie, Grand Isle. Now, this is a Nick Cage film.
I gotta watch this.
It is on Hulu, I believe. If not, it's somewhere. Pluto TV, I think, has it now too. So, Grand Isle is a movie. The first 35 minutes you should watch, and you'll be like, "Oh, this has to be going somewhere. This is leading somewhere. It's getting really tense. It's getting really." And there's not a Nick Cage is great being Nick Cage in it, and the Blues plot line is he's a Vietnam vet. It's set kind of historically. The movie begins with somebody trying to rob his house, and he shoots them, and they fall and they break a fence after he shoots them. You don't know what happens to the body. None of it matters. But he hires this kid or this young man to repair his fence. And you eventually find out that he's a Vietnam vet. He has some issues. He's impotent. His wife is sexually frustrated. She tries to seduce the guy. That's the first 30 minutes of the movie. I've been recommending it to these guys because this is a movie people need to see because it's one of the movies that you can tell they had this great idea. They had a pretty good script, not always great acting, but pretty good script. And they had Nick Cage. And honestly, I don't want to give away what happens. I don't want to give away why it happens the way it happens. But it's one of those things where, to quote Joe Lewis, there used to be a third act there, maybe. There was something that was supposed to happen there. And it never quite comes together. But I want more people to see this movie just so we can all look around and think, what could have been? What could have been? So if you again, Pluto TV, I think now has it. It used to be on Hulu. It may still be on Hulu. Grand Isle came out in 2019. It is one of the only movies. It's went up some. It didn't get a huge release. It went up some, but at one point it did have a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes solely because of the way that it ends. But it's overall it's at a 4.7 out of 10 now. But I need more people to see it because I know now the history of why it turned out the way that it did. And I just need people to see it so I can talk about it. So everybody please check out Grand Isle. That's my closing comment. Watch Grand Isle. You can curse me for it later, but you'll have a good time for about 35 minutes if you like suspense, thriller, horror-ish films.
And I recommend the last third of Hellraiser.
So what you can do is watch the first third of Grand Isle. Chad, give us a middle. What movie should they only watch the middle of?
Oh my God. Dude, Jesus.
Let's be cops. Okay,
that one.
Watch.
Care for the ending.
The
upbeat.
The passion. I got it. The Passion of the Christ.
Okay, so watch the first third of Grand Isle, then jump to the middle third of Passion of the Christ, and then watch the last third. I don't know why. Do you think I'm being smited for making fun of a certain film? I apologize. I didn't mean to offend Grand Isle.
For not driving the 2.1 miles when I texted you and said you're 2.1 miles away from me. There's no reason for you not to come over here and buy me a drink.
Hold on.
There was three different bars, sir, at that complex.
Let me remind you of something that you often say. The road works both ways.
Yes, I
No. You never invited me.
No, the place had a bar. You could have at any point showed up.
He actually never responded to that text.
Did I not?
No.
It's probably because I was at a park somewhere. That mentioned we spent 5 days in parks.
Yeah.
I don't know why my immune system got. Oh my God!
Oh God, we got to wrap.
All right, guys, this has been Bonehead. We hope you've enjoyed this no topic episode with these no hope losers.
Yeah. I totally don't have that Mask of the Red Death. That is not a good time. That Prince Prospero is not going to be. He'll lie to you.
This has been Bonehead Weekly.